Yeah. Hi everyone. Yeah, we're back on track again. We will continue with. You remember the topic, right? Accept or decline. That's what we're talking about. Dealing with sacrifices. That's another possible way of naming this idea. So this was from last time, and we had a look at White's strong attack in this game. I think White played at this point knight takes g5. So this is one of those sacrifices that we cannot really decline, right? We just know that we have to accept them. But there were two ways in which we could um, accept this sacrifice. And in the game, unfortunately, they went for the wrong sacrifice. In the game they played, yeah, we can look at it from White's perspective. So that's what they played in the game, just for fun, just to see if everybody is awake. What did White play here? You get only 10 seconds for this mission. Oh, was it like that? Really? Yeah, Marcus, that's what I thought. Everybody else wants to play Rook H3. Really? Wow, my memory must be bad then. Only Marcus, Promote, and Hank are with me on this one. And everybody else wants to play Rook H3. Is it that like, how do they say? I see check, I give check, something like that? Czechophilia. We talked about that last time. Please go ahead, Marcus. You didn't suffer Czechophilia and you played something else here, right? Aha. If I'm not mistaken, that was what he played in the game. What's the name of this player? Sorry, guys. Let me see what's the name of Satarov with white. I think Satarov played like that. Yeah. And after pawn takes, we get mated in a few moves, right? Aha. Because now the bishop is open, we cannot escape with the king. And if I take with the other pawn, it's just a classical mate on the neighboring files, right? Exactly. So that's what happened in the game. Rook h3 is mate as well. Yeah, you're right. Of course, you can also play Rook h3. That's what you mean. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no hard feelings if you want to mate with a rook. Of course. Yeah, some people said that. Oh, I see. So L, Brian, Razor, Skilled, Gordon, congratulations. You also got it right. I'm very sorry I cannot provide multiple correct solutions here. Only one. So yeah, no hard feelings if you gave check with a rook. That looks perfectly fine. In the game they played, by the way, King G7 and White had a very strong attack. Yeah, what happened in the game? He took on what did he play in the game? He took on E5 and Black could not take back because there was some issue with. Yeah, what was the issue here? Anyone remembers this? We talked about this also, right? Maybe just takes and takes, right? Takes and it's again game over. Yeah, or Rook takes also skilled. Yeah. Rook h3, less chance of a mouse slip. Yeah, you're probably right. No chance of a mouse slip if you play Rook h3 here, of course. Yeah, that's true. If the queen doesn't make it to h2, we have a problem. So anyway, f4 was played in the game and White went on to win. However, we saw that Black had a very pretty way, at least depending on your interpretation or definition, but I thought it was tricky or pretty. So let's see if I can bring up the quiz here. Let's see. I'll try to get it in the right place. The problem is that these moves are not saved, so I have to enter them manually. Somebody, I don't remember who was the Miss Fortune student who had to show this last time, but it was really tricky, the whole solution here. But in the end, we did something which we often do in defensive situations. We give back material, right? So, okay, just for fun, I'll give you 30 seconds. Let's see if somebody remembers how Black should deal with this sacrifice. Or Marcus still has the pawn. Oh, I see. Okay, Marcus, I will remove the pawn. Unless you make it again. Brian, we have a winner here. L, second place. Congratulations. Something about the brave king, the escaping king, and then something about giving back material. That was the only way here. Okay, skilled saber, torrid chest, Xalicia. You also got it. Some people were very close here. Hank and Mr. Chicky and so on. You played Rook H8. That gives you half a point if you play like that. There was some problem with diagonals, I remember, like Rook takes, King takes, and F takes E5. Okay, please go ahead, Brian. Also 206, you got it. Congratulations. But we will check with Brian on this one. So we take with a rook. One of the points of this, apart from trading pieces, is that it suddenly becomes easier for us to sneak away with the king. No, the brave king. Somebody said that the brave king appears in all these exercises, and yeah, you're probably right. It's very common. No, that's a very common topic. Okay, please go ahead, Brian. Zhong Jiao, King G8. Okay, thanks, Tori, for helping out. There is a difference here. Yeah, we try to play the king to the to the. Did I play the wrong way? Maybe I made some mistake, or was it like that? For me, rook h3 was move 2. Oh, sorry. Then I probably messed it up myself here. Yeah, it was rook h3 first. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Now it was takes and now it was f4. Yeah, that's what white can try here with the same idea of queen g2 and rook h8. Yeah, exactly, Ryan. You're right. Just for everybody to understand. Yeah, this pawn is pinned and the other pawn we cannot really do that because black's attack is white's attack is too strong here, right? Some kind of invasion on the h file. So we have to play like Ryan says here, rook j8. Fantastic move. Very hard to see this. Also, when you play this, you have to make sure that you can actually give back something because that's what's going to happen here at the very end. Strong threat of f6. Of course, Ryan goes back with the king. And when I play g6, can you also do king g8? Yeah. We will have a look at that. Okay, Crush. Nice to see you around. So something like that was black's last chance here. The variations are still tricky. It's not over yet. We looked at this last time, but it was the best they could get. If you play rook h8, I think we talked about that last time also. There was some pretty geometrical idea here, right? Anyone remembers the geometry here? Yong Jiao, someone already explained that. f6 says Crush. Very interesting move, but can I take maybe? And what happens next? Yeah, you guys are very good with tactics. You see much more than I see. But I can't really say this one. Yeah, I think you have to take first on. Happy Pawn says rook takes h first. I think so too. We start taking here, and the pretty geometry was that if black takes back like that, we have this funny queen move, right? 206, you got it. Beautiful geometry in this position. Yeah, some kind of double pin or yeah, whatever you would call it. So, okay, I think we're done with this one. Very difficult to defend this position. I would say in practical play, it's almost hopeless for black, but we were interested in simply seeing how we should deal with this sacrifice. And it turned out that it's one of those that we cannot really decline, but we should take with the rook so that we get a chance to quickly sneak away with the king like that. What's the theme? The theme is dealing with sacrifices, but here I'm calling it accept or decline. So we are faced with sacrifices in all these positions, and we have to make a choice. Here the choice was difficult because we had two ways to take on g5. Okay, we will continue. Let me show you something from a little earlier, some 10 years ago. The next game, the players, they are very familiar to you. We're in accept and decline too. So these players, you know them very well, David Navarra, Ivan Sokolov, in this position. You can say that something went wrong for white, probably. They're a pawn down. Black has a menacing pair of bishops. And also, yeah, it's like a lot of tactical pressure on white. So what Navarra did here, he grabbed his last chance. At this point, white played the move knight f5. So the task for you guys, I won't give you much time because I don't think it's too difficult. Please don't write in the chat. Please be well behaved and don't spoil the fun for the rest. So you get just 1 minute for this because I know you're very good with this. So I would like to know how should black react here on this sacrifice, knight f5. Should we accept the sacrifice or should we perhaps decline it? I can see that there is a big group of students who would like to accept the sacrifice. We did that all the time last time, no? We gladly accepted all the sacrifices. So how are we doing this time? Sui random is very, very close. So Sui, you can consider yourself a winner. That's a great solution. I think Sui, I will play knight g4. I think that's why Ivan Sokolov did not play bishop d4, Sui, because of knight g4. But maybe you have some smart move there. Okay, we have a winner, and it's a new student, at least for me, Pi Pioneer. Okay, congratulations to Pi Pioneer and also Tori Chess. You got it right. That's exactly what experienced Grandmaster Ivan Sokolov played. Famous Grandmaster. I think he beat Kasparov at some point in his career, and also he was the coach of the Uzbekistan team which became Olympic champion. So that's really a strong player and also strong coach. So we have, let's see here, how many winners? We have 4 winners. GM and Hank also got it. So please go ahead, Pi Pioneer. Tell us, you get the black pieces here. Show us on the board how should black react on this. Sacrifice knight f5 and just being carried out by David Navarra. So you can just play out the moves, Pioneer, if you like. And he's already, or they are already here, Greg. Nice to see you, Greg. Pioneer is actually just played out the move. So I think he must be added already to the student list. Oh, I see. Yeah, somehow he made his way to the classroom. I was not involved, but great. Knight f5. That's a great move by white, but even greater is the move that Pioneer noticed here, rook d8. We simply declined the sacrifice on this occasion. What Ivan Sokolov has seen is that white's pieces are not well coordinated here. Yeah, king g7, and at this point, as you can see, the queen is hanging, and also it has to take care of the knight. There are not too many good squares in this position. They played in the game queen c1, and Pioneer saw even what Ivan Sokolov saw here. Simple tactic, e3. Exactly, Crash, that's what he played in e3. It's not winning the game instantly. White can still survive here. I think he played in the game knight c4. But by now you can see what we're talking about. Black is taking this into a very favorable endgame. The bishop pair open structure. Yeah, basically winning it at this point. What did happen here in this game? I think I have it here. Yeah, he took on f2, and I think if white took back on f2, there was some problem. Anyone here with a sharp tactical eye, can you help me out? Black should be almost winning here, right? Bishop d4 perhaps, says heuristic. Razor Bill. Yeah, I guess so. Bishop d4, I would have to play queen d2. There was a good reason why David Navarra did not play this. But I can't see it myself. Queen f6 maybe. Is that very clever, queen f6? You're probably right. I mean, we can look at this position and we can just conclude that black must be much better. But I was just curious whether, as to that, if there was some kind of forcing. Bishop e3, says Crash. Aha. Bishop e3, and now there is some kind of traffic jam in white's position. I would have to play something like queen e1. Yeah, this looks horrible. I think black can win in a variety of ways. Queen d4 coming and so on. Yeah, but now I think we just won the game, right? We have like a double threat there or something. Yeah, I might be missing some small tactical detail here. That always happens, but I think we get the big picture that white is in big trouble. So that's the right solution here. If you play, I think... who said this? Sui Random said bishop d4. You get half a point, Sui. I could play knight c4 here perhaps, and I have some like very, very remote chance of counterplay. So I think it's nicer what Sokolov played, e3. I think that's more technical. Oh, queen d4. Yeah, you're right, Tori. Exactly. Bishop takes, and there was something coming up on d1. What if queen f4 instead of queen c1? Good question, Oski. I was actually thinking the same myself. But there must be a reason if he didn't play it. I guess the bishop will be hanging, right, Oski? We can maybe take, and there should be some clever move here, like let's say queen d4, or is there some, queen d8, says Hank. All right, yeah, I can't really see the difference here. Is it better to go to d8? You're saying maybe you have something with bishop d5. Is that the reason? Aha, people are saying that, and I think that must be the explanation, right? Queen d8 hitting the bishop, and when the bishop moves somewhere, we can probably play here bishop d5. Right? Or can I take on f7? Did you check that? Whoever said that? Yeah, not so clear now. Queen d8, bishop e3, not so fast. Exactly. Bishop e3, bishop d5, knight takes f7. And also, please notice, guys, it's great to analyze and so on, but you should also keep the practical aspect in mind. If you're sitting there and you start analyzing, oh, I will try to trap the knight and so on. But this is not exactly trivial to see it in the game situation, right? Maybe black is winning here. I would not be surprised because you're also hitting me on this side. Bishop d4, I guess king f6. We can perhaps just conclude that black is playing for a win, but it's not 100% convincing. Would that be fair to say? That maybe we should look for something better? Or you think black is completely winning? I would look for other ways to play with black. If you ask me, I would look for something else. That is bishop e3 instead of bishop e2. All right, I put the bishop in the wrong place then. I see what you mean. Oh, you can go this way instead. Yeah, maybe we should have a closer look at what happens here. What would happen if queen f4? There must be a good explanation why he didn't play that. I said queen d4. I don't know. This comes to me like natural. Isn't that like a trick with e3 also? Did you check that, guys? I'm hitting the bishop and I want to play e3. I think that looks like a killer, no? E3. Or is this just, maybe I'm missing something? Anyone? Is this working? Queen takes d4. What did I miss this time? Bishop takes. This is, careful that I have a big threat here. It's not taking the pawn. Yeah, I think this wins now. Looks winning. Could we maybe continue? I think we have a good picture of this variation. What happened in the game was that David Navarra played knight f5. But of course, all of you who wanted to play g takes f5 like in the last session to always accept the sacrifice or something like that, I just told you the first thing to do is to check the acceptance. Now, whenever, I will write that here in the chat. Whenever faced with a sacrifice, let's write that here. Whenever faced with a sacrifice, the first thing to check is the acceptance of the sacrifice. And I think Toriches said something else, right? Toriches had some other way of saying this. But yeah, that's what I remember. So queen takes h6. This would be very unnecessary. Now you can see there is the big threat of queen g6. At least white would make a draw in that way. And if you play bishop d4 here, I think I looked at this, Crush. I actually have this in my notes because, yeah, this came up in the past. I go queen g5, and you have to be a little careful here. If you play bishop g7, I think there is maybe rook d7. Is that possible? Or is there something maybe even stronger than rook d7? Queen takes f5, maybe? Bishop takes f7. Oh, sorry. Yeah, of course. I can't say these cheap tactics now. Definitely bishop takes f7, and even if this would be winning for black somehow, it would be completely unnecessary to enter this, especially against David Navarra. That would not be a good idea. White has a lot of tactics here. Yeah, king takes, rook check, of course. And if you play king f8, I think you would play rook d7 anyway. No, I'm just guessing. This can be a good move anyway. And we have a respectable threat. Queen c5, says Razorbill. All right, Razor, may I take the bishop, or do you have something prepared there for me? Or is there something stronger? Mikhail would look at bishop d5. No, I'm just joking. It's probably not working. Although it looks kind of nice, no? Bishop d5. But who on earth would enter this with black if you had the other variation that he played in the game? I'm just asking you guys. Let's say I play bishop d5. I haven't looked at this, but... you take on d5? All right, you take on d5. So that's the kind of variation that you can work out when you're sitting at home in front of the computer and so on. But imagine playing this in a game, something like this. All right, I'll play a move here, rook c7. So I think I have a few threats here. You would have to play queen. Correct me if I'm missing something. Queen d6 you have to play, right? Scary, that's what I would say. Queen d6, and yeah, there is no mate perhaps still. But we are getting closer, right? Is this okay? Something like that? We can at least agree that if we can avoid this, it's better. No, if you can avoid king d8 and black wins. All right, if you're saying so. But I think we missed things both for perhaps white and black on the way. We win. Rook h7 and white wins. Yeah, I don't say anything. I'm not using a computer. I mean, I don't use a chess engine. So I can see there are two threats, and I would be scared to death with three threats, actually. So bishop f7, queen f6. Yeah, exactly. Queen f7 first. You're right. Yeah, queen f6 first, so that if I play this, maybe there is that. So you play this first, so that you can play this next turn. Is that correct? Also, there is something over here. I mean, it's raining tactics here. It's raining. It's evident that something would fall in black's position. So please be a little serious and don't enter this if you can avoid it now. Please remember, we are not seeing the moves like that when we're sitting at the board. We can't play out the moves. We have to make some kind of practical decision. So yeah, the triple threat is too strong. Black will never win this. King f8 instead of bishop d7. All right. How is that, Crash? After queen g5, we should play king f8. I see. King f8. Yeah, what would I play in that case? Now I cannot give the check. Yeah, the queen is there. I should take on f5, I guess, right? I should just take and try to continue the attack. Yeah, even if you end up... I mean, by the way, I can take and I can play rook d7, right? You cannot play that, can you? Or did I miss something here? I play rook d7. I feel like I'm getting close to getting back my piece now, right? Yeah. So what is this? Yeah, this is what we're looking at, Hollow Blade. It's analysis. Two different paths, right? White play knight f5. Those of us who always like to accept sacrifices, we can try g takes f5, but white will play queen takes h6, and it's a little scary already. Queen g6 is one idea, rook d7 is another one. Black is not exactly well coordinated. They would like to play something like rook d8, but in that case, white would play queen g6, I think, right? And it's, or is there some smarter tactic? Anyone? Can I just play like that? What about rook f8 after queen takes h6, says Titan Chess? Rook f8. But then it's a draw, right? Minimum draw if I like. Queen g6 and queen h6. No, if I can't find anything better. That's not what you wanted, right? If we concluded that black was playing for a win and so on. So I think we're done with this one. Please let me know if for somebody it's still unclear. To me, it's very clear that this is the right move. We give back the pawn, their attack comes to an end, and suddenly they have difficulties with holding everything together. So I think this was a nice display by Ivan Sokolov. This move e3 is not the only choice here, but it's certainly making life easier. So, all right, we'll bring up something far ahead in time, something that happened many years ago. This is from the time of the Soviet Union. Let's see here. Last year, okay, guys, do some history. Last year of the URSS, which year is that? When was the Soviet Union? How do you say? When did it fall down or whatever? 1991. Yeah, something like that. Aha. This game was from 1989. I think it's the game. It's the year where the Berlin Wall came down, perhaps. Yeah, those of you who know history, you can check that. Anyway, back to the chessboard. Here we're playing. Okay, 1991. Yeah, thanks everyone. You know a lot about history. That's great. So, white's Kuzmin and playing black Maximenko. Ukrainian championship, but back in the Soviet Union. White in this Sicilian battle, they just played. Yeah, we can stop spamming now. Yeah, thanks a lot. Exactly. White played the move g5 here, and it's your turn. Should we accept or should we decline this sacrifice? You get 1 minute for your free pawn, says Can King Sam. All right, if that's your take on this, that's a valid, what can I say, valid opinion. So take your time, guys, take your time. Should we accept or should we decline? And I can tell you that in the game, the Ukrainian Grandmaster made the wrong choice and lost the game due to that. Wyatt Wong, we have a winner, Skilled Saber, Mr. Chicky Dude, congratulations. We have quite a group of losers. I mean, I shouldn't say losers, but just on this occasion, I mean, that you lost the quiz, you could say. Not losers in general, of course. You're winners because you're winning new knowledge and ideas and so on. So, okay. Mr. Chicky 206 and Brian, we have a little group of 5 students who got this right. And some of you were also, yeah, Santos and Andrew and Happy Pon, you were basically also on the right track. Xalicia, I would think that your movie is also interesting. Yeah, half a point for you. I'm a loser. No, you're not a loser. Yeah, sorry about that bad choice of words. No, we're all winners here. So please go ahead, Wyatt. You can tell us how should Black react to this sacrifice. What was your take on this? Bishop e5, we kindly declined that sacrifice. Should we start looking at that? Well, I just wanted to ask for one more move here from Wyatt, but that's a simple one, of course, else we're getting mated. So, of course, the big question here, why on earth can't we take the free pawn, as Kind King Sam said? Well, to make it a little more fun, we will now look at it from White's perspective, all right? Please notice there are multiple move orders, so I'm sorry if you pick a move order which is not the one that I have here in my files, but it's a way for you to try to see the idea at least, and we can talk about the move orders later. So, okay, here we go. We will see what happened in the game. You get 1 minute. We'll do some attacking now also. How did White take home this game? Why was it wrong to play Bishop takes d5? What did Kuzmin do at this point? Yeah, we will come back to that, El. I see what you mean. Queen h4, rook f3, rook h3. Typical Sicilian plan. Interesting move by Razorbill. Pioneer, Heuristic, Can King Sam, and Young and Charles. Interesting. I'll take on f6, I guess. What do you want to do next? Zach Pan, we have a winner here. Congratulations, Zach. That's exactly what happened in the game. And I think some of you maybe picked another move order. So if you took on G5 first, Tori, Galicia, and Happy Pawn, and so on. I will explain to you that that's not the best move order. I will take with the queen, of course, and when you take on G6, I will take with the queen on G6. All right? Let's see if we can figure this out. Brian, L, Crush, Andrew, Sui, you're perfectly fine if you take that pawn instead. I think there is no difference. Maybe I could play Bishop F6. Would you agree on that, or probably not? Yeah, tricky business with the move orders. Only Zach and HDI, you got it the way I thought. So please go ahead, Zach, and tell us, and then we will talk about the other move orders. So how was your move order? We have three captures. Exactly. We have three captures here. We can take like that, we could take like this, and we could take like that. If you ask me, this is the most forcing continuation because it enables the threat of queen takes. If you took first on g5, let's just straighten that out. I will take with the queen, and thanks, you gave me an extra possibility. I can now take with the queen. Not something that I wanted to do, but you will soon see why I don't want to take with the pawn, which would lead us to the main variation here. On the other hand, if you took the pawn on e6, I think that's perfectly fine, but it will lead to a slightly bigger calculation task. I would at least look at bishop f6. You will probably show me some killing move here for white. I'm just saying that it leads to slightly longer calculation. Maybe bishop g5 or something like that. Bishop g5 says Titan 95. Yeah, you're probably right. You can play like that also. But if you want to shorten the calculation task and maybe you're sitting with 10 minutes on the clock, I would recommend you to play in the way that Zach Pan and HDI played. So h takes g6, my only move here will be to take back on g6. I can take in both ways though, but it will lead to the same thing. I'll take with the f pawn, almost the same thing. Yeah, please go ahead, Zach. You can now tell us what's this about. So I hope you have seen this tactic before. If you haven't seen it, that's a good moment to know about it, especially if you play the Sicilian with black. It's good to know this pretty tactic. We are smoking out the black king. King takes, and white is winning here, right? I completely forgot that the pawn could also take the g6 pawn. Oh, really? Yeah, don't forget that when you're sitting there at the board, L. That's a really important detail. But okay, you will probably win the game by f takes e6 also. So yeah, e5 came natural, but this is much simpler what Zach is showing us. So yeah, congratulations. Exactly. That's what happens here. And one interesting detail about all this, it's actually that black would be perfectly fine were it not for the bishop hanging on b7. So it was not only about attacking, it was about the fact that they could take on b7. If the bishop would have been somewhere else, well, black would be okay in this position. Nobody died because the rook arrived at f7, but here it comes with an extra threat, right? So, okay, I think we understood this now. g5, we should definitely keep our hands away from that pawn. We should not take that pawn. That's a typical poison pawn. And that's exactly what happened in the game. Kuzmin took on g6. He played in the same move order, by the way. He played like that also. And I think black resigned in the game. It was exactly like we had it explained here. Yeah, you can take with the h pawn, of course, and it's exactly the same thing, right? We will just play in the same fashion. It doesn't really matter if there is a pawn there or not. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that's what happened in the game. Pawn takes, bishop takes. Yeah, we understood this now. Rook f7 and black. I think black resigned over here. Yeah, king takes, queen takes, and here they resign. Yeah, so that was a sad day at the office for Maximenko. Had he declined the sacrifice, he would have a much better game. And I think it's best to go to this square. I actually looked quite a lot at this. You have 1, 2, 3 destinies for the bishop, right? Destinations for the bishop. Yeah, you should not play bishop g7, of course. But I think this is wrong because they can play f6 and we are left without the bishop now. I would not recommend you to put the bishop there. You can have a bishop on f8, by the way. I have had that myself. And you're okay still with the bishop on f8. You can sometimes play h6 or you can like break through on that side. But please don't leave your bishop like that on h8. White can play for an endgame. Maybe they can start playing on the queen side. And yeah, we will have a hard time in this endgame with a piece less. So that leaves us with the other 2 squares. I think it's wrong to play this move because white could then play f6. And anyone, what would you play with the white pieces here? It's in prison, exactly. Aha, you're right, Sui. Rook f4 looks very tempting and the rook is coming to h4. Why is bishop takes e3 bad? Well, friends of the bishop pair will object to this move. Let's think here. By the way, did you check f6? Does it make any difference? Maybe your plan was to like take on f5 and open up the game. I haven't looked at this, so I'm not sure, but I would probably have a look at f6 also, and then take on c3. It was to go e takes e5. I see. Yeah, I don't know. I would not like to play this with the black pieces, honestly. I would have to play queen f8, I guess, and they will take, and looks unpleasant for black, this position. We will have to keep a constant eye on our king side. What if h5? Yeah, we will come to that. Yeah, exactly. If you play bishop d4, white plays f6. I think white should always try to avoid black opening up the game, right? Then black gets counterplay. So f6, queen f8, rook f4. Yeah, sometimes you can try to play h5, maybe, but okay, I can maybe prepare a sacrifice, right? That's what they do in the Sicilian, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, regardless, it's awful for black. Yeah, at least it's not pleasant to play this. And if you have a choice, this is like comparative analysis. Now you have two different moves which have like the same function of saving the bishop. Why on earth would you not play bishop e5? It's just comparing the two, and you say, okay, I rule out rook f4. They can play f6, and you play queen f8. And I think black's key plan here will be to play d5. That's what Sicilian players are often interested in. I think black was okay in this position, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, bishop e5 is very logical. I think so too. It's the best we have here. Anyway, this was a long story. I was mainly interested in hearing your opinion about d5. We could take it or we should leave it. And it turned out that we should leave it because white has this nice tactic with, how was it? Like bishop takes. No, pawn takes first, right? I'm forgetting myself. And then we have this rook's arrival at f7, which is a nice Sicilian pattern. You have probably seen this many times before, so you can see it here one more time. All right, we will continue. We will take something more recent, okay? We will have a look at an American player that everybody knows about. One of the American players who plays most tournaments. Who might that be? American grandmaster who plays many tournaments and always plays interesting games. Yasser Seirawan. Well, Hans Niemann, exactly. You're right, Aditya. So this is one of Niemann's interesting games. He was playing with the white pieces, and look, Ivan Sokolov is back again. How interesting. This time it's a more modern game. It was played last year in the peace tournament, although this game was not exactly peaceful. White played at this point the move knight g5. All right, you're sitting with the black pieces here. Hans Niemann just played knight g5 against you. You'll have to make a choice here. Should we accept the sacrifice or should we decline it? That's what's coming up here. So, all right, I'm trying to get this in the right way. Let's see here. Okay, you get 1 minute. Careful, this is not a trivial choice. And actually this time it appears that the Dutch Grandmaster went the wrong way on this occasion. Always decline. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say always decline. But maybe today it's the trend that we should decline. Yeah, you're right. So, okay, if you play like that, Young, Wyatt, GM, and HDI, I will take with the bishop. And now you should start looking at some way of fighting against the mate on h7, right? The same goes for HDI, Salicia, Andrew, Oski, and so on, Razorbill. I'll take with the bishop. That's what Niemann did in the game. And you'll have to find a way to save your king, okay? Anyone who was close? Yeah, you get half a point for that. Santos, Brian, Can King Sam, 206, Quoki, and Hank. That's perfectly fine. Oh, I didn't know you could play f5 here, Fianchetto, heuristic. We will look at that also. How interesting. Smart Goldfish, you were definitely on the right track, but I think you get mated in one, no? So, right idea, but the wrong moment, I'm afraid. Skilled and smart Goldfish. Yeah, you somehow failed to see the main threat here. So, who was closest in this very complex exercise? Sui Random, very good try, but I think I can play rook takes h5, right? Sui, did you notice that? We will have a talk here with, who should we pick? Who was closest? Chess Crusher. All right, Chess Crusher, you were really close. And what you played is also acceptable, which is the main thing here. So, accept or decline. It seems that Chess Crusher played here g6, kindly declined the sacrifice. I will try here the move rook h4. I think that's what we played, right? And what did you play here, Chess Crusher? Your move is okay. It actually lets black defend properly here. Aha, king g7, perfectly fine. It looks extremely scary. Now you would say that, oh, they can take somehow, the bishop is joining the battle. But tell me how you would do that. I cannot see it. It's black's fortune that the queen cannot come to h3 in this position. Yeah, if you take, I think I can just take back. I don't see any ghosts here, but if you can see one, let me know. I'm going to creep back to g7 as soon as I can. Knight e6 check. I think I can just play king h7, right? Blind sack. Yeah, nice expression. So um, they can also play some knight move here, right? Knight. Where would they put the knight? On e4, I guess. And now you would have to take care of this little pawn. Uh, so what would you play now, Chess Crusher? You have to defend your idea. Yeah, don't move any of those pawns, I think. Oh, you did move. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're playing with fire here. I'll take with a knight, and I have this coming up next. Yeah, don't do that, please. Keep those pawns together, okay? Keep them together. They'll stick together. Exactly, Santos. Yeah, King Sam. Rook h8. Mobilization to the defense. We're bringing in one defender. They can play bishop f4. They're bringing in another attacker. And it's still a little hot, right? Why did they play bishop f4? Please notice when you analyze with computers and so on, try to understand their moves. It's just not a matter of copy and paste. You have to understand them. I understand this move, I think. The computer wants to play knight f6, but not now because we will take this pawn. So the computer says we should first defend the e-pawn. And next, the computer says, I want to play knight f6, and that explains Chess Crusher's next move. Are you still around, Chess Crusher? What would you play now? c4. That's not what he said. And I think I know why it's a bad idea. I checked this on other occasions, Chess Crusher. I think the problem is queen e3. You're giving me a tempo to attack the pawn on h6. You're right, 206. You're right. I think this is wrong, no? Please notice also this guy is hanging, no? I can play like that, I think. Correct me if I lost myself in tactics here. I'm hoping I can go to f6 very soon with queen. Wow, I'm playing a blitz game now with Chess Crusher. Who knows how this is going to end? I actually don't know. Maybe you're okay here, Chess Crusher. You're crushing me, perhaps, at this point. Yeah, king g8, and nobody knows what's going on. All I know is don't move this knight. Knight hanging, exactly, Sui. Can I come back and play rook e1? I actually don't know. This looks very interesting, but not fully. I'll try rook e1. If it's a blitz game, I will try this. I'm hoping they will play knight f5 and I will take the knight, right? Try rook e1 says Tori. Exactly. I don't know if black wins. I have no idea. I have a respectable threat here to take the knight. Queen d8. All right. This got very complex. I don't know what I'm doing here, honestly. If I move the queen and I plug in a knight on f6, how good can that be? Looks interesting, no? Bishop g3 says King Sam. Is that smarter? You're letting the knight come to f5. I think we're all lost in space here in this position. Queen d6 says Razorbill. Looks interesting. Yeah, you're betting on the passed pawn now. Move the queen. Where, though? Yeah, exactly. You have to put it here. I have no idea. I would think that black can save their skin here. Unclear. Yeah, knight f5. I like that move. Trading on our terms. No, we're not going to trade like that and give them the e5 square. We will trade like this instead. This is winning for black, perhaps. Yeah, I think we can find better moves for white here. But I don't like, on principle, I don't like the move c4. Maybe I can also play queen d2 just to skip the other variation. Now you don't have, now your knight is still pinned, right? So you cannot move the knight. So I think you're just helping me here, whoever said, oh, I'm hanging this guy, but I can probably take, right? g5, yeah, okay, we're back in the same page here. Very complex variations, which are complex to analyze during a game and so on. Would you really venture on this? I think it looks scary for... Hollow Blade says something here. e6 instead of queen d6. But that was a long variation, Hollow, and I think it was probably filled with mistakes. But okay, if you really insist. What is it that you would like to say? Queen here, and when you want to play e6? Like that? What did they play last time? I don't even remember this. Queen d8. Oh, Hollow says e6. Oh, that's probably a very good move. Yeah, this looks very promising. I'm not a computer, but it looks nice. I mean, the big question is if I can take and play king g7, Hollow. And I see no ghosts, and I take the pawn next turn. Bishop e5, yeah, and I'll take the pawn. All right, show me, guys, what do you have here? Did I lose something here, or I can still hang on? It looks extremely scary. Yeah, I agree. I don't know what else to do. It's like the method of process of elimination. Yeah, white slightly better. All right, yeah, I didn't miss. This is just the kind of move you play because everything else is very scary. So okay, should we maybe come back in this variation tree? We should move a little back in the tree. So back to business here. 95 was played by Niemann. 95, respectable threat, queen h7. Some of you said f5. I don't think you can play that. No. I'll take en passant, and I don't know what's your next move here after that. But yeah, let me know if you have something prepared here. En passant hero. Yeah, exactly. No, this is probably not possible. If you take on d5, that's what Ivan Sokolov did this time, unlike his game against Navarra. That's what happened in the game. They played bishop takes d5, again, renewing the threat of rook h4. And you can also see that if black tries to block white on the diagonal, there is another mating idea, right? We can play something like bishop check and I guess, or maybe even that, right? Yeah, next move resign. This is probably the best move, right? But also interesting, rook h6. So this looks like a complete disaster. What he played in the game, and I think some of you who said accept or sacrifice, you were probably going to do this, right? He played here knight f3. Aha, you're right, Counting Sam and Andrew. That's what happened. Interestingly, I have something to say about this also. Interestingly, in this endgame, yeah, this game did not end with a fierce attack. It ended with an endgame. It was like that. Interestingly, I think black would be fine were it not for the presence of the bishops in this endgame. If it was a pure rook endgame, I would believe that black can save this. But the problem here is twofold. One, the bishop is very strong. It's preventing rook d8. Yeah, if you play that, I think that's Sokolov's move. And if you listen to me carefully, you can guess white's next move, right? Of course, Sui. Exactly. No thanks. We don't want any rook endgame. So usually when better, let me write something here. Usually when better, in the endgame, avoid rook endgames. Yeah, not always, of course. Don't take that religiously, but as a principle, rook endgames offer more chances of a draw. If you keep one minor piece, for instance, on the board, chances of winning increase. So no rook endgame, no. Bishop e7, king h1 was played in the game. Yeah, it looks funny that Niemann is in the endgame and he's moving away the king instead of approaching it, but it's of course because he wants to play rook. Well, I thought so. He wanted to play king, rook g1. Rook e8, he did not play that though. Yeah, mysterious move, king h1. Why did he play that? Rook endgame has bigger chance to draw, says Marcus. Exactly. Bishop, you only have one extra pawn here, by the way, Adi Chess. It's only one pawn. Okay, I'm just playing out the moves here. Rook a6, clever rook lift, but white kept their extra pawn and they went on to win this game. Yeah, this was a long game, but he went on to win. I think he brought in the rook, maybe the pawn could push at some point and so on. So, yeah, that's, like a general rule. Yeah, exactly, general rule. Not in this position. I get the point. So, actually, this didn't work out properly. White was very clever to keep the bishops on the board, and I think the king can also join the battle a little later. It's nice to have the pawn on e5. So back to the solution. Why did Ivan Sokolov not play g6? Well, I guess he felt that it was dangerous. No, it was dangerous to let white work on the h file. But as somebody explained to us here, who explained this, Chess Crusher, this is actually perfectly fine for black. King g7 was proposed. No, that's the variation that we looked at. Knight e4 and rook h8. Bishop f4, preparing knight f6. And instead of this crazy g5 move that you were saying, some people were saying here, bishop d8 was a very good move here. And black is probably okay in this position. It's still a little scary. We don't play c4 because we don't want them to gain an extra tempo. So the rook is in the air now. If they play knight f6, I think we can just take on f6. Or maybe we should not take on f6. Or maybe not. We just move the queen instead. Something like that. Looks a little scary, but we can maybe bring the knight to f5. Black should be okay. However, there was a simpler solution. In my opinion. Simpler solution here after rook h4. We always talk about this pawn, right? Oh, by the way, somebody's saying, why was king g7 wrong? Why was king g7 wrong? King g7 was not wrong. It was okay to play king g7 here. But it's even better if we play anyone instead of king g7. Could you guess black's safest way of playing? Although it doesn't exactly, Brian, the happy pawn, take the pawn. So that's something I wanted to say today also. Usually in all these attacks, when you have a pawn on e5, it really helps your attack. When that pawn is gone, you can even let your opponent take the h-file like this. Uh, Both king moves are possible. I think that Chess Crusher or whoever it was played king g7 first. And I think that's smarter because after rook h7, we can now go to g8. And believe it or not, white's in trouble here. They don't have king run. No, you don't run up. You don't go up, King Sam. You stay here. And it's difficult for white to progress in this position. It's not easy for them. They're missing this square for the queen. But even if they had that square, they would not be mating black, right? Because the black queen is still around. So yeah, I wanted to tell you something about this. We all make some kind of comparisons, pattern recognition, and so on, things that we have seen before. So I would like to ask all of you, do you know a game where white had 3 heavy pieces on the H file and still couldn't win? Anyone? Capablanca? No, I don't know that game. Was it Blackburn? Me, says King Sam. I'll show you the game that I know. It's a famous game. Former grandmaster, former world champion, well known for his endgame skills. Which former world champion was like specializing in endgames? Capablanca, you're right, but it's actually another player. I don't see the name here. Rubinstein was not a world champion. He was very strong, but never a world champion, I think. Okay, I'll show you the game. I see the name. Somebody said it. Yeah, Crush said, congratulations, Crush. This is from the good old times, Zurich, 1953, candidates tournament, very famous tournament. Bronstein had a great book written about that. So, okay, we will travel back in time for a short moment. This is actually the same topic that we're talking about, because at this point, Keres played the move rook h3. All right, anyone knows? I think you know this example. You probably know it already. Crush knows it definitely, right? You have seen this. Should we take or should we not take? It's the defensive game. Yeah, it's a fantastic game. It's really nice. I actually have this in my new course about defensive play. I took it from there. I really like this game. So that's the game that I think of. So, okay, anyway. Anyone knows it? D takes e4 says 206. All right, 206. We will invite you. It seems you know this game or you're just a genius because you found the right move here. That's exactly what Smyslov played. Smyslov said, I don't dare to take on h5. If I take on h5, after queen takes h5, I would love to run away like that. However, what did Keres have prepared here? Fantastic attacking player. Anyone? Of course, Brian, you're right. a4. Oh, I gave it to the wrong person. Sorry. I will. Who should I give it to? Sorry. To 206. All right. No issues, 206. I will give the pawn to you then. Wait one moment. All right. So this is a nightmare for black, right? Look at this funny move. What is he doing? Some kind of majority attack. No, just kidding, of course. The bishop is coming to a3. We will stop black king from moving away. This was analyzed, I think, back by Bronstein back in his book in 1953. No way to save black here. Main variation, queen d6. Queen h6, we keep the check in the pocket. And this means that after bishop d7, queen takes. Yeah, something like that. Rook d3. And this is like hanging over black all the time. And after bishop f6, anyone? What would white play here? We have some kind of... what are you doing with your hands? Maybe we can stop that. Raising hands. Is it very important for you guys to exactly crush story chess? That's right. c5 was the variation here. And many things happen here at the same time. There is something going on here, but there is also something going on there. And black is a rook up, but their king is very unsafe. So Smyslov saw something around these lines and he played what 206 was explaining. So please go ahead, 206. Tell us how to continue here. D takes e4. Why did Smyslov play that? Well, there was 2 reasons you could say, or 3 reasons. Okay. Reason number 1, he's not getting mated after rook takes h7 because we have the bishop on h8. Reason number 2, opening up the long diagonal means that sometimes we can actually, if white takes, for instance, now we can actually venture on this because you can see the difference, right? Anyone? What's the difference? Of course, hollow blade, you're right. We can now play bishop e4, mobilization to the defense. So that's the 2 of the reasons. And the third reason is he cleverly understood that he's also opening up the d file for his counterattack. So let's see what happened here in the game. All right, we'll look at this very quickly so that you see my picture here. Rook takes h7, and I think, yeah, King Sam, you saw the move. You still have the pawn, right? 206. You can continue. What did Black play here? Smyslov's next. Very clever move, Chess Crusher. You saw it also, Hollow Blade. He played here the move c3. So basically what Smyslov is doing here, apart from creating a passed pawn and exploiting the fact that the rook is busy defending these two squares at the same time, you can see bishop takes, rook takes c3. But apart from that, he's actually also fighting for the long diagonal, right? This diagonal is important. We need this diagonal to defend our king for reasons which will become evident very soon. Because here, Keres played queen c1. And I imagine that Keres was dreaming about something like pawn takes, queen h6, and you can see that now it's indeed mate, right? If I play queen takes d4, anyone? Where is the mate? Aha, we have mate in two different ways, right? You can pick yourself according to your choice. It's a little slow on my side of the screen. I don't know why this happens. Yeah, rook h8, and we can mate them on h7, right? So now it looks a little like the Niemann game that we're looking at, right? A little the same thing. So what did Keres play? Of course, he played instead. Smyslov played queen takes d4. Bishop g5. Can you play that? Interesting. I didn't look at that. Wow, maybe. If I play f4, you have queen takes with check, right? So I have these two checks. Does it make sense to include these two checks? I'm not so sure. Yeah, probably not. What does that mean then? Yeah, that's a nice move that you found, Crush. I have actually no idea what would happen here after bishop d5. Rook h8. No, I have this in my book. Sorry, Crush. I actually had it in the book. Yeah, I looked at this also. Rook takes f8. It didn't really work out so well. Yeah, you take back and I play f4. I keep my attack going. Yeah, I stopped here actually. You can probably, with the computer, you can analyze forever here, but we can maybe stop and just say that Black's king is not yet safe, right? Exactly. So that was a tricky line. You had to take once so that the queen cannot take on d4. Please remember, guys, when you analyze with computers, it's perfectly fine, of course, to do that, but try to understand the moves. Why on earth did the computer take on f8? Well, because it wants to play f4 and it does not want to run into queen takes d4. Something like that, I would imagine. So, all right, back to the game. Back in those days, by the way, no computers, no stockfish. This was 1953. So Smyslov took on d4, and this is the position that I'm talking about, because Keres played queen h6. So, you see, 3 pieces on the h-file. What Ivan Sokolov could have suffered against Niemann, it was peanuts compared to this. But Smyslov had analyzed everything. You can see that there is now the threat of rook h8, right? And mate. You're right, Marcus, King Sam, Andrew, King runs to center. Aha, Bronson has a book, and it says, yeah, of course, that's fantastic book. I read it when I was a teenager. It was a long time ago, yeah. Zurich in 1953. I don't even know the exact title of the book, but it's a classic. And he annotated all the games, you know. He annotated all the games, Bronstein. Each and every game, even the most boring draws and so on, they were annotated. So, all right, rook ft8, of course. Here we are again, making space. That's what I call it. Yeah, Zurich 1953. Making space, that's a nice idea to use in defensive play. Now you can see that it's not mate anymore, right? It's not mate because we got the square for the king, so we are winning here. Yeah, you can pick up the exchange if you like, but then you end up in a bad endgame. So that's what happened back in those days. What happened in the game, by the way, he played, what did he play in the game? Bishop c1. Yeah, bishop c1. And here Black could win in different ways, but Smyslov played the simplest choice here. Bishop g7, queen g5, and queen f6. Black won here. I think White simply resigned at this point. Rook d1 is coming also. It's Black's turn finally to go for an attack. So, yeah. That's the picture that I wanted to share with you from this old game. Smyslov definitely knew how to defend. This was a very nice display on how to decline the sacrifice, and you can even withstand 3 pieces on the h-file. So if we go back to the Niemann game now, let's see if I can bring it up again. Let's see here. So now I think we can understand this a little better, right? 95, it was very scary for us, of course. If we take, they will take with the bishop, and they have rook 4 coming up and so on. It's not easy to defend. By the way, somebody maybe thought about f6 here, but it's just like last time. E takes f6. It's annoying. The diagonal is open and so on. Very tough case for black here. But if we kindly decline the sacrifice, even if they go rook h4 here, as we were discussing, we can play here exactly queen takes a5. So that's for me the nicest way of playing. And I instantly remember the Smyslov game here. You can go in 2 different ways, but I think that's the smartest one because, I mean, you're not threatening to take, but maybe on some later occasion you can do that, right? And if rook h7, we have king g8, and they have some kind of tactical liability. And you can see our moves are not so difficult, right? We will play rook d8 like Smyslov did, although with the other rook, but we can put that rook on e8. So is this convincing or it's not convincing maybe? Somebody who would like to check some other variation? I checked some other lines also for white, by the way. After knight e5, g6. Another move at knight e4. The computer spoke about this move also, knight e4. Interesting. It always likes flexibility, now the computer. It wants to take with the bishop instead, and maybe, just maybe, it will play rook h4. But it's interested in developing here also, bringing the pieces as soon as possible. So there were a few different choices here. You could take the pawn again. Bishop takes h6, rook fe8. I think this is also playable for black, but you need to be a little careful. You don't allow some fork or something. But h4, I think, is the best move. Exactly. h5, sorry, is the best move. Not so much for keeping the pawn on the board, but to restrict white's attack a little. So actually, this was fairly playable for black. You can play rook d5 here to prepare knight f6. Remember, don't give up that central pawn. That's just a collapse of white's attack if you do that. But you can, if you play rook g5 and you're planning to mate me by knight f6 and rook takes h5, anyone, what would you play? Exactly 206. Yeah, Razor Bill, you're on the right track, definitely. Bishop d8, very pretty move. I like these backward moves. The bishop was not doing anything anyway, right? The bishop on b6, it was a spectator. Now we use it in the defense. Knight f6, this time we have to take because else we get mated. And here we can play something like, yeah, we should pick a square for our queen. This looks like a good square so that we hit the pawn at the same time. So I think black is okay here. One last thing to check here, queen e3. Can I still try to mate white? Mate black, sorry? Probably not, right? We can safely take that pawn. And black should be okay in this position. Exactly, Marcus and Skill Saber. Not that difficult, no, not that difficult. White still has some issues with development, but I agree. This was a complex example, very complex case, but that's what we should play here. So 95, very interesting try by Niemann, and it paid off in the game, but black could keep things closed by g6. And please remember this main picture. When you take that pawn, if you take that pawn on e5, this is really our worst enemy, you could say. You can even, such positions, you can easily defend them. So, all right, maybe we should take one more. Should we take one more example, maybe? And then we can call it a day. So, let's see here. Which one will we pick for this occasion? Let's take something from Tata Steel, all right? Let's take an example from Tata Steel. I guess all of you were paying attention to the Tata Steel tournament. And I was looking at both groups, at the A group, but also at the B group. And I saw many interesting games in the B group. I don't know if you guys saw this game, but I thought it was very interesting. Divya with white and the Rubers with the black pieces. Yeah, this is in the master group, exactly. So, interesting game. You can see black's king is in the middle. Well, so in the middle, yeah. It didn't make it to castle. It would have loved to be on A8 instead, but it didn't make it. No castling anymore in this game. So white has some difficulties to improve in this position. It's not so easy for them to break through. But black played a really, really scary move here, a really risky move. They played at this point knight b8. Well intended, of course. Rubers want to put her knight on c6, hitting the bishop on d4. You saw this game. Oh, yeah, white won this game. You're right. Really scary, exactly. So, yeah, you should look at, Marcus says, I only looked at Master. You missed many games, believe me. In that Challengers group, there were tons of nice games. We will come back to them later, by the way, in this session. So, all right, knight b8 was played. Anyone? What did white play? Of course. Like we say in Swedish, it's like a letter coming with a post. This is very obvious that white will play f5 here because the knight just left the place. Had black played something else, one interesting move here is actually to go back with the king, king e8. Then you can see already now f5, it's not that nice because black at some point could take the pawn on e5. So typically when one piece leaves the center, you could say that's the right moment to strike, of course, and that's what Divya did here with the move f5. Very well timed. So, all right, we have to take that pawn because it's about or do you have something else? Yeah, I remember black was supposed to be winning here. Some smart tactic. Yeah, what can it be? Uh, wow. Yeah, I don't see it. So I take that back. Yeah. Probably black is not winning. Probably it was just me misremembering. E5 though looks very promising for black. Yeah, who knows? Black is fairly active, no? Knight takes h2 was his little chess player is saying. Yeah, I was going to say that also, but I couldn't see the variations clearly. Can you take and you can take on h2 maybe? Not completely clear, right, little chess player? Or do you have some smart tactic coming up here? Knight e5. Knight e5. Yeah, I think I will vote for e5. If I have a choice, I'll play e5 here. Yeah, I don't know. Rook f3, I'll have to play queen takes h2. Yeah, these are very complex variations, and probably I was wrong saying that black was winning. But black is at least equal. Yeah, I think so. Black is at least equal in this position. So rook f3 is more critical, hitting the pawn, and that's our last move, rook g6. Black seems to stay alive here at least. We can try to bring in the rook. And even if white has an advantage according to the computer and so on, we are still in the battle, right? This is much better than the game. You always have to compare things, right? Yeah, maybe a slight advantage for white. Possibly, I don't know. I think there are chances for both sides, and it's not so important the exact evaluation. So again, knight b8, extremely risky move. We are withdrawing a knight from the battle with good intentions, of course, but this gives white a golden opportunity to play f5. Once we get to this position, we should probably decline. We should try to bring back the knight as soon as possible. Somebody here said it's about taking the e5 pawn again, and I think it is. There was another variation here that white could also play. I think they said that on chess.com, maybe that was the variation that they said, knight d6. That was also interesting, but again, you will take on e5. Bishop takes e5 and bishop takes d6. Yeah, maybe some of you who play the French defense with black, you have seen these variations, like when you play, they have a pawn chain and you push g5, something like that, and suddenly you get the pawns in the center, but you have the g file open. You get this kind of battle. I would expect that white has chances here still, but black is also in the battle. So yeah, that was basically what we talked about. In our main variation, we were saying that if white takes on h5, we will not take the knight. That we know by now. We will also not take the bishop. Then white keeps the pressure. We will take that the key pawn on e5, so that after bishop takes, we can take with the queen, or conversely. Yeah, we're very happy, of course, that we can take here with check. That's a big detail, of course, that we can do that. And in our main variation, we were saying that if white plays rook e3, knight e4. Yeah, Razorbill remembers all the moves here, knight e4. So I hope you can see this picture in the same way as I can, like this knight. The knight is the hero, I think, of black's defense here, but this was a tough exercise. So all right, I think that's it for today. Fischer versus Tal in the Winower, I think you were saying, right? Or no? Yeah, interesting. Maybe we can talk about that next time. So I think that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks to Chess Dojo, to Chessable, to USCS, Greg Shahadi, and thanks to everyone who attended today. See you next week. Thanks.